Ah, good evening. Welcome back, Trip's Tales. Tonight, we're looking at Island Walker again. Episode 17, Discoveries. 26 fathoms, Eric called out before retracting the lead line. Good. Now keep an eye on it. Let me know when that number changes. Then brace yourself. We don't know how far along the cycle we are, Alf said. Of course. Eric may have had a lot to drink, but this was almost sobering. He remembered the tales of fishermen measuring this distance when it should have been around 80 to 100 fathoms. How quickly the kraken raised and lowered out of the water. When it surfaced, it could send boats out of control. When it sank, it could drag a whole fishing boat down to oblivion. 26 fathoms? Bjorn asked, astonished. This is insane. As I circled around the seaweed, a heavy stench infiltrated their noses and made them gag. Since Eric had been drinking, he was far closer to giving in to this demand. What is that awful stench? Nora asked. It's you, my dear, Harold replied and burst out laughing. Nora sneered and eyed the pile of what appeared to be seaweed. I'm not so sure. It looks more like you. Eric tossed the lead line back into the water and was slipping on the deck. Still 26. Are you okay? Bart asked. This time I'm sure you're drunk. Are you sure you can even make it to the Kraken? I'll sober up by the time he surfaces. Okay. I just don't want to make sure you don't slip and fall into the beast's jaws. Eric scoffed and threw the lead line back over. His jaw fell open. 25. For a moment, no one moved. It was really happening. Huff was the first to react by steering the boat away from the seaweed. More sprouted from down below, and he expertly navigated around it. The sea broiled. Whitecaps smacked against the flanks of the hull. Fish leapt out of the way in terror. Something below them was surfacing. Undiscovered country narrowly missed the sandbank emerging at her stern. More seaweed splashed out of the water around them. Tentacles. Horns rose like tall masts of ships. Once more, Alf was face to face with the great island fish. No time to waste. Go take your samples, professors. Alf brought them right along the sandy beach and the team hopped out. Alf stayed on the boat with the ship. On board, he had had his time with the Kraken and had zero interest in returning. The others rushed through the haze that covered this swamp-like island, making sure not to slip on the firm yet slick ground. Eric was still drunk, but fully functional. He felt the alcohol gradually leave his body. What are we looking for? Bjorn asked. Search the ground and tide pool for anything of note, Eric responded. Like more knife tips or something. As he searched, Eric found strange fishes and snake-like creatures. He wasn't a biologist and wasn't going to take any chances. They were venomous or poisonous. He was on the hunt for something more up his alley. Bart started, if you just would have let Eleanor hire us some specialists, then maybe this would have been, we would have been more efficient. She would have hired locals, Bart. People who definitely would have been part of the hafgufa millets. It's better this way. Eric pored over each tide pool and bushed until something caught his eye. Instantly, he reached for his GPS, notes, and phone to photograph it the best he could. Bart! Attic! I found something! As did I. Document it before grabbing anything. And be careful. We don't know how delicate any of this is. Eric grabbed a bandana from his pocket and wrapped it around the piece before rushing over to Bart. Look at this, Bart stated, displaying it for Eric. A full spear. I'm afraid the wood will crumble, but we could save the head to analyze it. Just make sure you get enough pictures and drawings first. Eric turned to address the others, still in eyesight. If you find anything, call Bart or I. We have to make sure it's documented correctly. The others agreed, and Eric went to another pool, crouched down, and collected samples in his vial for the hafgufa millets. He took a plastic bag and took samples to analyze for himself as well. Eric! This was Bjorn. Bart! This was Harold. Eric! This was Nora. The two professors took turns analyzing their friends' finds. Some were rocks. The team still collected. Others were broken pottery, coins, and even shattered ship parts. Leave it to Bjorn, though, to find the greatest discovery. An intact skeleton. Who do you think this was, Eric? Bjorn asked. I have no idea, but I took all I needed from him. Quickly bring him back to undiscovered country. Bjorn nodded and grabbed nearby brush and foliage to drag the skeleton away without breaking it apart too much. When he was close enough to the boat, he dropped the skeleton to find a bag of bones to collect the bones in. Guys! Alf was panicked. Time to come back. The water is churning! You heard him, Eric said. Let's go. Without a second thought, everyone rushed back to the boat. The seaweed moved like flexing muscles waking up from a long nap. Eric slipped and fell behind as Harold and Nora rushed back onto undiscovered country. Bjorn grabbed the last of the bones and placed them delicately in the cabin. Bjorn made it to the vessel, and the Kraken began to sink once more. Its great tentacles smacked the water in excitement of cooling down underwater. Ocean pooled around Eric's feet, and he did his best to run fast across the beast. Bart, I'm going to jump for it. Try to help me up. It might be best if you swim, Eric. I'm not sure. Swimming's a terrible idea, interrupted Alf. Then slide over. You may be able to keep up if you were... You wouldn't be able to keep up if you weren't drunk, Bart interrupted. Suddenly, a tentacle smashed down next to the boat and it spiraled away. Eric tripped down and slipped into the water. Now there was nothing to do but swim. Hold on! Alf and Bjorn cried. We need to get out of here, Bjorn responded. We'll all be swimming if we don't do something. I agree with the professor, Harold responded. No, demanded Alf. I'm not losing someone else to the hafgufa. He spun the boat around and everyone held on for dear life. Eric swam the best he could, but the current and waves were dragging him down. He coughed at water. Undiscovered country caught him a broadside, and Bjorn plucked him out of the water and onto the deck. Eric coughed violently as Alf jerked the boat away from the Kraken once more. Bjorn sat Eric up and made sure he spewed up all the water from his lungs. He gasped for air and nearly screamed. Waves crested around him and tossed the boat around like a soccer ball. Everyone into the cabin! Alf demanded. He was happy to have this escape this time around. Bjorn helped Eric into the cabin as they closed themselves off from the elements. Alf directed them through the waves, which appeared to be a terrible storm, and Eric hurled. Harold bumped his head, cried out in agony. Nora laughed. Leave the barn. One final wave crested behind them, and Alf gripped the wheel as tight as he could. Brace! This crest shoved them forward, spiraling the boat into oblivion in desecrated undiscovered country. Her nets, gone or hanging on by a thread, her broadsides flattened, her cabin ceiling smashed. I guess I have a sunroof now, Alf commented and laughed. Everyone else joined in laugh. In relief. And you doubted it. Yes. Eric shuddered. We did. We actually walked on the Kraken and took supplies. Bart just laughed at his doubted comment. How about the round on us? Harold asked. I wish. But not quite, Eric admitted. Look, things might get a little tricky. But I trust you guys should be able to help. You see, I didn't just get mugged. The hafgufa milits captured me and made me promise to give them the vial of Kraken essence. He displayed the vial. And they asked me to kill Alf. But I can't. I'm not a killer, and he's a good man. Maybe if we work together. Bang! What'll happen next time? We'll find out right here on Trips Tales.